Bitsbrew, this is Craig from bitsbox.co.uk here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you different ways how you can make terrain look all sort of post-apocalyptic and derelict and damaged and sort of destroyed. And you could use this for any miniatures really if you wanted to have like a battle-worn sort of feel. But in this example I'm just using terrain, and I've had this idea for like an abandoned fairground for a while. That could make a good little skirmish board, whether you use it for kill team or something like that, I don't really know. I'm not really thought that far ahead. I just thought it'd be quite a cool little terrain project to do. So in this video, I'm doing a couple of rides from that, and yeah, I'm painting them up, and then I'm going to show you different ways of how to weather them, make them all look abandoned and dirty. And yeah, I really like the end result. So hopefully you guys stick with the video and let me know what you think at the end. So yeah, let's just get straight into it though. Okay, so starting off, here is the carousel, and I've used some red gold bone colour on it just for base coats, and they're not the neatest, but that won't matter by the time we get round to the end result. So both pieces I'm using in this video are printed from Epic Miniatures, and definitely go check them out. They have such a wide variety of almost everything. They're just really cool. And yeah, as you can see, the first thing we're going to do to dirty this up is just slap on some Agrax Earthshade. So I've thinned it down a little bit just so it'll go a bit further. And I want this to be dirty but not like too dark. But you can see it really changes the colours, especially the bone looks quite dirty, and that's sort of the colour that I do want it to be. And yeah, once it's all applied, quite a lot of it, you can see here, it's really made a difference. So next thing I'm going to do is take some Sterling mud. So this is if you want your sort of ruined terrain to look a bit overgrown. Over time, life finds a way, and yeah, things will start growing on there, whether it's like grass or little plants and stuff like that. Mud will get on there, and that's what we're doing here. I'm just doing little patches. I'm not going to go too overboard with this. Obviously, depending on how overgrown you want your terrain to be, it's entirely up to you. But for me, just a little bit on this. And now I'm going to take some PVA glue and go over the top, and not of all of it, but just like most of it, and then I'm going to throw on some static grass. And it's mad how long it's been since I last used static grass. Growing up in this hobby, I used it all the time, and that was the thing to do on bases, just put on a load of static grass or green flock. And yeah, once that's done, I'm going to take some streaking grime, and we're going to just dirty this thing up even further. If you don't have streaking grime, I highly recommend picking some up, because it is very cool. But you could use typhus corrosion instead if you have that. It's very, very similar. And I'm doing it in areas where I think like water and dirt would pool up. I am going to paint them rings around the columns eventually as well. And yeah, in the end I do end up using a fair amount of this. I thought the flowers around the top looked a bit dirty, so after I go around here I'm going to start painting on them as well. And I really like the effect actually that this gives on the white, and that just offers a really nice contrast and dirties them up even further. But yeah, I mean, again with this you could put it on quite thickly, or you could just put it on in small amounts. It all depends how dirty you want this to end up looking. And like, yeah, on some of the gold areas, for example, this is what it looks like if you put it on quite thickly, and you can really dirty that up. Now I do end up wiping a little bit of this away because I think that's a bit too thick to start with. But yeah, just to show you here what it can look like. I think it's pretty cool. And we're assuming on this piece that the gold areas are actually just gold paint and not actual gold or brass or anything like that, which is why I'm not doing any oxidization. And then the next thing I want to do is just lightly dab on just a lighter colour, just like a sort of light bone colour, almost white, just to represent where like the paint might have chipped off. I've gone a bit too heavy there, but again, it's all down to how weathered and worn you want it to look. You could do like just little amounts of this, or you could go really overboard. In the next example, I'll show you a better way to show paint chips. You might even be watching this and think, oh, wouldn't it be better to do it the other way? And that's exactly what we're going to do for the next ride. So this is just one way of showing you how to do things, and we're going to do things slightly different in the next example. But you can see already, like, from how it looked early on to what it looks like now, it's really weathered and worn, and I think the streak and grime really helped. And here it is with the horses in as well. They were painted up just quite similar way, so I didn't show them off separately. But yeah, it's quite cool. You can see it looks quite run down and worn. But in our next example, we're going to go even further, and yeah, that's going to be for the teacups. Okay, so here I've got one of the little teacups, and yeah, I'm showing you straight from the start here, because before we even paint it, I want to get some typhus corrosion and just add a bit of texture to it. So I like typhus corrosion a lot because it just has very small amounts of like sort of sand in it. I don't know what the actual material they use these days, but it just gives that rough texture. And these are printed in PLA as well, so you do get sort of layer lines, and this helps sort of cover them up a little bit as well. But I'm not too fussed about them, to be fair. And yeah, I'm just applying it over the entire cup. It's a bit of a messy process, but well worth doing. And there you see, there it is. And I'm going to take some lead belcher now. And I'm just dabbing this on. I want to dab it on fairly heavy in some places and not so heavy in others, just to give a really random look. Again, you could go with the sort of lighter bone colour that I used in the previous example. This is all going to be like the colour underneath the cups, but I thought the metal would work really well, and because of that we can rust it up a little bit. So I'm taking some rust orange, but any orange will do, or riser rust, whatever you got, and we're just doing the same sort of thing again, just dabbing it on. And you can see even now, like, it looks really rusty and worn. And if you want it really, really rusty, you could even leave it like this. But we're gonna add some paint to it later on. But yeah, even at this stage, I'm really liking how it looks. So I'm gonna take some Emperor's Children. So I want to use sort of different pastel colours for this. We're doing the same thing again. We're just getting a brush and we're dabbing it on. So once upon a time, it might have been entirely this colour, but of course it's all worn and derelict now. So a lot of that paint has chipped off. And yeah, I think this is a better way of doing that chip paint look than in the previous example. But I did want to just show you different methods of doing weathering. And again, just how heavy or how light you do it is entirely up to you. There's no right or wrong. I like to just do everything as random as possible, and I think that works the best. And then lastly, I'm going to take some ivory tusk for little flowers, and I've got a really old brush that's seen way better days. Yeah, just doing the same thing again. Of course, you can do any colour you want if you're doing something similar. And again, it's just a case of doing random amounts, some thicker than others, and just dabbing it about randomly. And yeah, that's our little teacup. So I'm going to do 3 more of these in some different colours, and then we'll show you the final result. And here we have the final result. Now, I didn't show you the base because, as you can see, it looks very similar to what we did in the previous example, but I'm so happy with how these turned out. I think the colours just work really well, and yeah, I'm really excited for this project. Hopefully I'll get around to doing more. I've printed out a massive big wheel to go with them, but that's going to be quite a job. It's huge, but really cool. Definitely check out Epic Miniatures. I know on my mini factory they do lots of cool stuff, and I'm going to try and find maybe like a bit of Broken Roller Coaster as well. So yeah, I'm hoping I'll do more for this project in the future. But in the meantime, please feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and you can subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you all again in the next video.